Hello. We are now gradually emerging from a world plagued by a global pandemic. This pandemic has been devastating, causing mental distress and loneliness, as well as political and economic unrest. As a society, to create a better world, we need to enable people to adaptively handle their emotional distress. We need to understand how to better connect people to each other. We need to guide people to make better decisions and help them work together rather than against each other. My name is Maya Tamir, and I'm a proud member of the psychology department at the Hebrew University, where we diligently study each and every one of these critical questions. I had the privilege of chairing the department in the past 3 years, during which our faculty outdid themselves in finding creative ways to do science, even when our labs were closed, and to teach innovatively and compassionately. In our department, we consistently strive to address the issues made salient by the pandemic. For instance, to help people handle mental distress, Professor Jonathan Hoppert developed a brief online therapy intervention that could be made accessible to many people who were suffering during the pandemic. To understand social connection, Dr. Shira Tzil and Dr. Anat Peri have tested what contributed to social isolation in adults and adolescents, and how we could potentially overcome social disconnect. Professor Eran Halperin has been testing a broad range of social interventions designed to decrease prejudice and enable people across political and other social divides to see each other and work together. To help guide better decision-making, Professor Ruti Mayo has tested how trust or distrust impact the spread of false information and conspiracy theories in social media, and what we could do to combat them. My own lab studies how people manage emotions, which was also a salient issue during the pandemic. We conducted a large cross-cultural study to test whether people around the world were equally eager to minimize their emotional distress. Our data so far indicates that people in Western cultures were eager to feel better, whereas people in East Asian cultures were less eager to rid themselves of negative emotions and invested less effort in doing so. It's interesting. We assume that conformity to social norms, norms about how we should behave, is generally higher in countries like China or Japan compared to countries like the US or England. What we found, however, is that conformity to emotion norms, norms about how we should feel, might actually be higher in Western countries like the US, England, or Germany. This finding challenges how we think about emotion and its relative importance in our lives, and also how we think about cultures and how they shape us. This new discovery in my lab would not be possible if it weren't for the hard work and innovative thinking of a former doctoral student, Dr. Alon Vishkin, who spearheaded the project. In fact, all of the amazing research in our department is made possible by intense and extensive collaborations with graduate students. Working with graduate students makes our research possible and allows us to cultivate the next generation of scientists and mentors. This year, the Hebrew University launched a new graduate funding program that offers faculty members the ability to fund one graduate student every year. This is an incredibly important and even critical program, but we need more. Every graduate student funded could drive the next novel scientific discovery. Who knows? With a bit more funding, we may be able to offer a more accessible treatment for depression and prevent suicide attempts, or help decrease prejudice and bring people together, or allow us to help people manage emotional distress in a multicultural and global world, especially as we recover from a pandemic. Thank you very much for your continuous support.